Hello, everybody, and welcome. We have such tremendous things to do together. And in this case, it's revising a poem. This poem is an account. I wrote it, oh goodness, 2 days ago? Sounds about right. I wrote it at night. It is very, very weak at the moment. I wanted to do my first live revision of something that's in a very poor state. Something young, something barely even alive, if you will. And I'm just going to read through it a couple times here and there, talk about why I did some of the things I did, what I'm changing, and I'll read it again at the end once we have a new revision or a new version. In its current state, it's called an account. Economics will never be right until it sees the phantoms we see. There's undeath in the dollars we trade. It flutters in our bills like moths. Economics will fail you. It cannot smell the sage that burns as it hangs from the rafters. It doesn't know the feel of ectoplasm dripping down its neck. The death and life and esoterica that screams in our ears is mute to the ears of your charts and graphs. Economics is alive, and that's the problem. So, sort of the basis of this is one of my next posts, I'm planning on doing a collection of poems related to ghosts, and I was watching a John Boyce video on SB Nation, Secret Base. One of the best sports writers alive. Makes some of the best documentaries I've ever seen. And one of them is the story of when the Phillies were down 10 runs against the Pittsburgh Pirates in the first inning. And they make this incredible comeback. And he talks about win probability a lot through it. And at one point, he says, win probability doesn't see the ghosts we see. And on a particularly magical or haunted night, that can come back to bite it. And so I wanted to play with that idea, almost steal it. I mean, economics will never be right until it sees the phantoms we see is pretty much right on. It's very much the same core concept. But I also wanted to play with economics specifically. I'm an accountant. I'm studying accounting. It's one of the things I'm best at, one of the things I'm good at, and I'm very passionate about it. But I also wanted to weave in sort of the paranormal aspect of this. I've been playing a lot with paranormal, and cryptids has been something I played with. So, talking about some of the things I did, specifically an account. So you'll often see it's playing two ways. It's like a ghost sighting. It's often an account of something. Like it's the account of a ghost sighting. So it's playing with that, but it's also an account, like, the charts, an account of, or like a report. And that's associated with accounting, which is where I'm drawing my own sort of experience into this, alongside the fact that I really don't like economics as like a topic. I like accounting. It's very, very different science, but that's not what this is about. I'm a big fan of you'll see it a lot, sort of these future definitive, will fail you. I think it has a lot of power in poetry. It's very incisive because it's very future-oriented. Like, it gives a timelessness to a poem, right? Because I'm saying this will happen. This is coming, and it makes it feel like it's always coming. It's always future. So it keeps moving. Phantoms, I say phantoms here, and instead of ghosts. I never use the word ghosts. Partially because I didn't want it to be so on the nose, honestly. I feel like if I said, sees the ghosts we see, I mean, that's literally what he says in the SB Nation video. And I didn't want to be right on top of it. There's undeath in the dollars we trade. Undeath is a little pretentious. I'm not super happy with it. So I'm probably going to come back and change that line around. In the dollars we trade feels very pretentious. It flutters in our bills like moths. Uh, Obviously, moth playing with like Mothman. Mothman's often an omen of death, and I also just think Mothman's one of my core uh, cryptid or paranormal metaphors. I use moths quite a lot. Uh, so I Mothman and moths. So I do like that, and I think it works. Economics will fail you. I kind of talked about that. It cannot smell the sage that burns as it hangs from the rafters. Playing a little bit of a meta commentary there, for me specifically. You have sage. The idea of sage as both the herb that you burn to like exercise spirits, but it's also like sage, like wisdom and insight. Uh, but it's also the meta commentary aspect of it is I personally have another poem called "I Like to Hang Cats by Their by Their Tails" that I wrote a while ago, where it was about a man who would string up cats by their tails and hang them from the rafters. Um, it doesn't know the feel of ectoplasm dripping down its neck. I just wanted something a little bit uncomfortable. We have the ect neck. It has sort of a um, double feel. Uh, there is sort of an S consonance, and it cannot smell the sage that burns as it hangs from the rafters. I think serial like plurals can just kind of build its own consonants, especially if you have like a little bit of leading S to go into it, so it doesn't just feel like you're just being plural. The death and life and esoterica. I like esoterica, and I feel like I kind of forced it here. Death and life is a little, ooh, look at me, I'm saying death and life. This is such a big deal. It's not. But esoterica, of course, isn't a word. And then I say that screams in our ears is mute to the ears of your charts and graphs. That doubling of ears, I like it kind of works, but it doesn't. And because like charts and graphs don't have ears, and they don't have anything that's like even kind of ears. So like I don't think it works. And screams in our ears sounds very yes, this is such a big deal. If you hear any clacking, I am fidgeting with a pill bottle. Because that's what we do sometimes. And then economics is alive, and that's the problem. I think works conceptually, right? Like the idea that it's alive and that it's adaptive and that's the problem is, I think, very interesting. Like it doesn't have the ghost stories, it doesn't have the history, it doesn't have all these accounts. It's working on formulas and futures and projections. But I think I phrased it a little literally. So going up to the top, economics will never be right. When I say right like this, I think about slipping in a left, just because it's an easy one. Till it sees the phantoms we see. I'm gonna leave that for now. There's undeath in the dollars we trade. I think I can do better than that. Our currency. No, zombified doesn't really work. Reanimated? That's kind of good. And then it would become flutters in our bills like moths. But it's not in our bills. Would it just be our currency reanimated flutters like moths? It's a long line, pardon that. It's a long line, but I don't hate it. I think economics will fail you. It's just right. It's too immediate after I say economics will never be right. Would it just... Economics will fail you. Economics will not ring true. Economics speaks hollow until it sees the phantoms we see. Our currency reanimated flutters like moths. Her graphs inch like worms. No, I was intentionally doing its. I don't want to do her. I usually do her. So one of my rules, one of my things in poetry is anything that is inanimate is female, with very few exceptions, which is interesting. Collective groups, I tend to use male. I'll say like little men. I'll use men, but it's her usually. I'll even do the same in one poem. I don't know why. I've just always operated like, pardon me. I've always operated like that. Its graphs inch like worms. Sorry, very distractible, but I guess I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I mean, like, I guess it's from like boat culture or cars in particular. Most vehicles tend to be described as female, and I've just kind of transferred that. I don't know, maybe it's a gender affirming thing for me. I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't tell you. I'm gonna keep going. So its graphs inch like worms. You have the idea that graphs are, they're measurements. So inches works. Inch worms, you have that sort of connection. And the idea that sort of moths are from caterpillars, which are kind of like worms, so you have some connection like that. In a lot of moths, you'll see some predatory moths that'll actually hunt worms. Are there, well, let me double check, actually. Need to move I can't move my face? Well, I guess I'm gonna have to start over. Worm hunting moth. Like, I could make it ermine moth. Now found kindly is true bugger beetle when not in flight, but resembles a moth. Alright, resembles a wasp. It's very possible that all moths are. I'm assuming they're actually all moths herbivores. I'm gonna assume so. No, not all moths are herbivores. Who is this? I could not catch the webpage. I'm just gonna trust them. Some are carnivorous. Okay, let me look up carnivorous moth diet, just to see what type of things. Feeds on the blood. Feeds on blood. Vampire moths. That's actually really fun. I mean, that works really well. Like Calyptra. Ooh, that gives people something to Google. I think having like one thing that makes people Google is actually a good thing. Okay. Description. Also, Wikipedia is a good source, especially when you're writing poetry. Vampire moth refers to the habit that they have of drinking blood from vertebrates. So it wouldn't be worms, but flutters like Calyptra. Its graphs creep like arteries. Hmm. I like artery. Do I like veins or arteries? That's okay. When you're talking about you have three options whenever you mention a blood vessel. You can say like blood vessel or just blood or something. Well, I guess you have four. Blood vessel or blood. Sometimes it's right to say like aorta or superior vena cava, something very specific, very rare. But then you have artery versus vein. Because they mean very different things, right? Symbolically, they're very different. Arteries have that sort of life. They're filling, whereas veins are draining. You know, they're flushing. They're more death. I think if I'm going for the idea that economics is alive, I should say arteries. And I think that works. Our currency reanimated flutters like Calyptra works. That also works double well because they're vampire moths. Vampires are undead. Yeah, okay. That works really well. So our currency reanimated flutters like Calyptra. Its graphs. That's not clear that I'm talking about economics. Well, supply curves. It's not creeping because supply curves are like this, right? No. Supply curves are like this. That's a very important distinction. Yeah. Economics lesson. Supply curves. If you have a graph, oh, it's inverted. Okay. Graph like this. Price, quantity. Supply goes like this. Demand goes like this. Fun economics lesson. Climb? No, but veins climb. Artery. Well, no, that's not true. It depends on where they're going. While supply curves climb like arteries. Yeah, that sounds good. And that also, if it's a climbing artery, if for people that are really paying attention, you know that means it's towards the head. Because the arteries that climb are the ones going towards our head. The arteries that fall out, because arteries come from the heart. Veins go towards the heart. So the veins that climb, the veins that just fall are from the head. Anatomy lesson, apparently. Okay. This is good. This is really good. We also, the idea of a hollow imagines like a hollowed out tree trunk, and I think the connection between moths and hollowed out tree trunks works really well. It cannot smell the sage that burns as it hangs from the rafters. Normally you don't hang sage necessarily. You'll do this. Like the idea of the climbing versus fluttering is actually interesting because it's like you have that image of sort of like landing. Ooh, wait. How about economics knows no sage? It's incensed. So we're playing with. Okay, so what I'm playing with, of course, so economics knows no sage really kind of plays up the idea of the double meaning of sage as like what you burn to exorcise ghosts, but also like a sage, an older, wise person. I just don't know. What if I just do it like this? Economics knows no sage. It doesn't know the feeling? I think that's better. It doesn't know the feeling of ectoplasm dripping down its neck. Yeah, that's good. I think that's better. I don't think it's perfect. This poem is not going to be perfect by the end of this. It's going to be a first draft. I save all of my drafts as I go through. I'll actually show a little bit of that. Actually, I probably won't be able to because of my freaking webcam. I'll show it another time. Actually, I can show it right now. That's what I can do. This is all of my poetry. If you notice, it'll say working draft and then first draft or second draft. I save every version. So third draft of Abiogenesis, Moonsong third draft. Those are both the drafts that I just made for my collection, A Meditation on Rice and Other Poems, which you should read and print out and give to people, because hopefully I'm going to get it published by like an actual publisher. I'm working on it. But in the meantime, I always save every version. I don't have the original version of this saved on here because it was what I call raw form. So I write some of my poetry in paper and I write some of it on my phone, and I don't consider that a version. Although I do usually keep them. They're sort of a pre-version that I haven't felt the need to sort of document. Because a lot of them it's just before the idea has even come together, right? Okay. So we've got economics speaks hollow until it sees the phantom. I'll read through it at a normal pace, actually. Economics speaks hollow until it sees the phantom. Well, oh, wait. That doesn't work. What about just economics is hollow? Economics is hollow. It's still... So, sorry, I should explain. The issue I'm encountering is that economics speaks hollow until implies that it has seen the phantoms we see. Which is something I'm trying... is not the case. I can make it economics will be hollow. I'm going to make it that for now, and probably revisit it at another date and time. Economics will be hollow until it sees the phantoms we see. Our currency, reanimated, flutters like calyptra, while supply curves climb like arteries. Economics knows no sage. It doesn't know the feeling of ectoplasm dripping down its neck. The death and life and esoterica that screams in our ears. Oh, wait, actually... The death and esoterica. The death and esoterica and life reads... Let me read that out loud. It doesn't know the feeling of ectoplasm dripping down its neck. The death and esoterica and life... no, doesn't sound good. Esoterica is definitely an ending phrase. I thought it would be fun to kind of break up death and life here, but I think I'm just going to get rid of it. What about the silver and garlic and wrought iron? Is it wrought iron? Wrought iron? Wrought iron. There we go. Wrought iron, of course, being sort of an anti-fae thing. The silver and garlic and wrought iron. So we have like werewolves, vampires, fairies, and sage, of course, and ectoplasm playing with ghosts. But they're all sort of... Well, I guess they should all be undead, right? Well, I don't know. I kind of like it. I need to just get rid of this. The silver and garlic and wrought iron. That hangs in our cupboards. No. Well, can I replace garlic with something shiny? Because then I think... Well, what about the silver bullets and crosses? The wrought iron. Are crow's toys. To its regressions. The silver bullets and crosses, the wrought iron are crow's toys to its regressions. So we have sort of regressions is playing with the idea that it's sort of backwards, but it's also like it's a linear regression. It's a way of analyzing data. My cat is making noises. Do you want to say hi? This is Waverly. Say hi, Waverly. He's a good boy. We love Waverly. Oh, he is definitely smothering my microphone. Goodbye, Waverly. But, okay, so you're playing with that sort of... You're bringing graphs back into this. A lot of, your supply curves are based on linear regressions. Crows have sort of an omen to them, but they also like shiny things. A crow would definitely take especially a small bullet or a cross. Now I just want to fix up this last line. It's alive. That's cute. That's really cute, actually. So, it's alive. Obviously plays on Frankenstein, the old movies. It's alive, which, reanimated. It kind of implies that economics is something that itself comes back to life, which pokes a hole in the narrative of the poem that I think works. Like, I don't know that this poem is actually true to me. It's alive, that's the problem. It's simple. It's concise. I think that works. I'm going to read it one more time through, and I still like the title, An Account. An account. Economics will be hollow until it sees the phantoms we see. Our currency, reanimated, flutters like calyptra, while supply curves climb like arteries. Economics knows no sage. It doesn't know the feeling of ectoplasm dripping down its neck. The silver bullets and crosses, the wrought iron, are crow's toys to its regressions. It's alive. That's the problem. I think that is a strong enough poem to call that a first draft. And on that note, thank you for watching. I hope you gained something out of this. You understand my process a little bit better. And I hope you have a great day. I don't know. I'll figure out how to sign off videos at some point. Bye.